Welcome to Let's Make a Game Platformer, episode 48. In last episode, I've added camera controls in the editor. And in this episode, I'd like to work on selecting objects in the editor. And to start off, I'll work on having a small window that displays all the elements that you can find in the level. So all the blocks and all the entities. Okay, so first of all, we have to create a new window. So it's going to be in level editor menu system. And we'll have here select window. And we'll add it to the stage. I'll have to create this method. And I'll copy the objects one to start off. Okay, so in here we'll have edits in edit level. Okay. We don't need this. Just need to make sure we align it to the left. And in this window, I'll have to have two scroll panes. One scroll pane for all the objects in the scene, and another scroll pane underneath will be for editing the selected object. So for now, let's add first one, and let's call it select object. And in here we'll have a tree. So I want to have a tree with, and tree is very simple to do in libgdx. Once again, you have a tree object. You pass the skin to it, and you create a new node. Tree node, yes, and I'll use a label for the top ones, the roots. So label is gonna be blocks. Passing the skin. I'll pass the blocks label here. Maybe I'll just rename it. I'll extract it. And I will have a second one here, which is going to be entities label. UI skin. Label, and I'll add it as a field. The reason why I'm adding them as a field here is because I'll be modifying their contents later on. So I need to have an access to them. Okay, then finally I'll add them to the tree. Blocks node. And I'll add entities node. And this thing. Okay, that should be it. Let me run it. Okay, we have edit level. I don't have the nodes here for some reason. I didn't add the tree to the select pane, that's why. Okay, so let me fix this. So select object, add, actually no. So in here, select object is gonna be here. I don't need the table anymore. And I will have 3 in here as a root, as the UI element that I'll be scrolling. Okay, now we have blocks and we have entities. At the moment they have no. Okay, maybe I'll do the same here. I'll define the height of them. I don't know if I can do the same in the 3. No. Okay, let's now go for this and we can modify it later. Okay, so now we have 2 top levels. And so first of all, whenever a new entity is loaded into the level, I want it to appear in the entities node. And to do that, I'll have a listener here. Now just receive event. And entity added. So I'll have what's the name of the event component added? After component added. On something that has our component object in editor. And in here I'll have also a map of entity ref to node, should be a 3 node, with entities in a level. So when entity is added, I'll add it to the put entity ref, and I'll have to create a node here for it. And for the name, I'll use the object in editor get display name. And to display levels label. And UI skin. Let me put it as the field here. So UI skin. Okay, and pass a node here. And what I have to do also, I have to add it to the entities node, add node. Okay, and so that's it. Let me run it and see how it works. So we have entities here, and when I place a lever, now the lever appears here. Okay, when I place a pressure plate, it's here as well. Okay, so that part works. So I'd like to do the same now for blocks. However, blocks are a bit more complicated. We do not have any information about stuff that was, if something was added to the level or not one at a time. However, we know when the level was modified. So when the level was modified, we will have a level component. we'll have block location, and we will have block prefab name. So what I'll do first here is I'll get rid of all the nodes that are already in the blocks node. And then I'll iterate through all those that are at the moment in the level and add them one by one here. It's going to be really slow, but you can improve it on it later on. So block actor label, and I use the location plus block prefab name, or I think the blocks, they have the display name as well in the prefabs blocks. Yeah, blocking is the component, so I have to load the prefab. So we have prefab manager here, get prefab by name, block prefab name, and I will wrap it into the and prefab entity get component block in editor display name. So I have location and display name, and I have to pass a skin here, and I have to create a node. And here I'll pass an actor, and finally, after creating node, I add it to the blocks node. Okay, so let's run it and see if it works. So when I place a block, let's say stone, it appears here with the location and the display name. All right, and add another one, and they all appear here. Okay, this is not a very good way of displaying them. I might change it probably. I'll definitely change them later. Maybe instead I'll not display the location, and it's gonna be more. Maybe I'll just split them by type. So I'll have stone here and locations. Maybe that's what I should do here instead. So let me create here quickly a map based on display name. Block types, and I'll be adding the block type to it. So here block types get from display name, and if it's null, I'll have to create it. Block type actor with the display name only, and underneath it I will have location. Oh no, sorry. So this is block type actor here. I'll have to add it to the main one, blocks node add block type node, and then finally I'll create the node and label for the actual block. So block actor, here I'll pass location, and block node, and I'll add it to the blocks type node. Okay, so what will happen, I will create one node under the block that for each type of blocks, and then underneath that exists in the scene, and underneath I'll display one for each location. That way we'll be able to easier navigate it. So let's check if it works. So we have blocks. I have a stone here. Awesome. I have 2 stones. Oh, unfortunately, it has used the same one. That's because I haven't added it to the map here. Display name is going to be put block type node. I have to fill this map so I don't get duplicates on the block types. So let's see. So I have 2 stones, okay, 3 stones, and a dirt. Okay, that's a good start, I would say about this. For this, now what I'd like to do is that when I actually click on an entity here, or a block here, I want to send an event saying that this was selected. And what this will do, I'll have a system which basically renders a frame around the selected object. That's why I'll be able to either modify them or delete them from the scene. Okay, so let's get to this. So in here, in the where we create a new node. In here I'll have I can set up an object here to specify what actually this node represents. That's what I'm going to do. Entity, I'll have here entity ref. That way I might not need this actually. Do I need this? I think I might need this later on. I'll keep it for now here. So when I create an entity node, I said this is the object it's pointing at, and I'll do similar thing except for setting a location in case of the block node of the blocks, because blocks don't have entities. This is entity of the level. Okay, so now I can add to the tree here. I can add a listener, and in case of a tree, let's read the documentation quickly. I think it's change event, change listener. I'll get selection. I think I can set the selection model on it. No. Okay, let's do this. Get selection, get last selected. I can do it here. 3 get selection set multiple false. I will only selecting one element, and get last selected, and last selected get object, selected object. If selected object is instance of entity ref, that means when you selected an entity, I'll fire an event on this entity, on that entity, or something else. Let me think for a minute. On that entity, I think, yeah. So I have to create a new event here. And if selected object instance of string, which means that we have location, then I will send it on the level entity. So level entity send block selected. And I will have to pass location to it. For now we have it as a string. I'll fix it later. Okay. Okay, that's it. Let's now let me add the rendering of a frame around the selected object. This is, I think, here logic system. Yeah, this is for placement. And I'll add here render selected. Selected renderer. Register system. Profiles. Game screen and editor. Entity selected. Entity in editor, object in editor. To know what's the size of it is and so on. I also have to have a location here. Actually, I don't need the location of these. I just need to remember that selected entity. Block selected. Okay, and in here I have a string for block selected. So when entity is selected, I have to unselect the block. And when block is selected, I have to unselect the entity. And then I'll copy this part here. Because we'll be using the same model. I'll probably at some point merge these two classes to just have one stuff rendering the frames. I'll need a model instance and model patch. Also need the model. What is wrong with this? I have to import this. Okay, and in the renderer, rather this stuff, I will do if entity select and selected entity is not null, then selected entity get component object in editor. And I also need a location from it. And I have to reconstruct the transform for it based on it. So I have to transform it. I have to get the transformation of the model. I have to set it to identity, and then I have to first translate it based on its location plus object in editor placement translate and render translate. And also render scale, render size. So I have to definitely scale it by the render size, but I have to, I believe, subtract the placement translate, but add the render translate. Let's check this. And I have to do this for all the Y and Z as well. Y and Z, Y, Z, Y and Z. And finally I have to render it. So let's now try first for entity, selecting. Okay, so let me create a lever here. When I click on it, it does the thing I wanted. I think bug is the one that is problematic, but it's selected perfectly. Let's see if door is correctly also selected. So I can lever, door, awesome. So now I can, if I have, imagine having here multiple door, I can now say, okay, this is the one. Oh, there's a problem here. So if last selected is not null. I can maybe send an event level entity send selection cleared. So I'll create a new event quickly here. The same place where these are. Selection cleared. And in the renderer, I'll make sure to remove it. So I have to select entity, no, block selected, no. Okay, so we got this part, and if block selected is not null, I have to do the same thing, except I have to move it by so block selected is a split by commas, location split, x is float false float location split 0 YZ 1 2 YZ and translated by XYZ, and no scaling because all the blocks are assumed to be cubes. Okay, so let's quickly check if the same works for now for the blocks. So let me place a couple of blocks. Okay, we have stone, and it works. If I unselect now something, okay, I can now switch between one and the other. Awesome. Okay, that's it for this episode. Make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter. A link is in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye.